going to start this over right here. Okay. To go along with the World War II era, I have a special treat to share, which is a true story that comes from a B-24 pilot named Mansell King, who flew in World War II. And this is Mansell King right here. A good friend of Jerry's that lives close to him in Oregon flew a B-24 in the Second World War. He was kind enough to share some of his real war experiences and pictures with him, and also let me pass it on to you. Jerry went to his house, took some notes, and wrote the story, went back and read it to Mansell to make sure it was right. After a few edits from the pilot, here is what Mansell had to say while flying the B-24. Enjoy. My name is Mansell W. King. I was born in Kansas in the year 1922 on a sharecropper's farm where my family scraped out a living in the Depression years. When World War II broke out, I enlisted in the Army for two reasons. First, to get away from my poor existence on the farm, but also to fight the Axis, the bad guys.
Yeah.
After basic training, I was given some extra tests, and it showed that I had the ability to be a pilot. At this time, there was no Air Force, just the Army Air Corps. So away I went to Hobbs Air Training Center in New Mexico. Well, it started out I was just a lowly PFC, private first class, in fatigues, cleaning latrines. It didn't take long to see that being an officer was a much better way to go. After more
They had all the girls in the cars.
Oh, really? Yeah, I kind of saw where they got a little bit better. After more tests, I was sent to San Antonio, Texas to become an officer and a pilot. Next, I was shipped to Uvalde.
Yeah, Uvalde.
Uvalde, Texas.
That was John Nance Garner's home ranch.
And who did you say he was?
He was vice president under Roosevelt.
Oh, okay. I don't remember Roosevelt.
Don't you?
After graduation there, I went to Mountain Home, Indiana.
No, Mountain Home, Idaho.
Idaho. Sorry, that's what it says.
Yeah.
I don't know why I put Indiana in there. To learn four-engine flying and then the B-24. What a great airplane the B-24 was. Slightly larger than the famous B-17, the B-24 was an easy plane to fly. I am now a brand new second lieutenant, and with my crew of 10 men, we were shipped to England to a place called Flixton.
That's right.
About 20 miles from Norwich, England.
Yeah.
The Earl
This is so accurate. How did you get all this scoop? You're just a natural born
All it takes
reporter.
is Google.
Yeah.
This is really the way I used to do my job. I mean, I would Google questions, and it would tell me where to go find the answers.
Fabulous.
Of course, I had to use my brain to sort out what was right,
Yeah.
you know, but, okay. Next, I was shipped to Uvalde, Texas to begin basic flying. After graduation there, I went to Mountain Home, Idaho to learn four-engine flying and then the B-24. We already read that one. I am now a brand new second lieutenant with my crew of 10 men. We were shipped to England to a place called Flixton, about 20 miles from Norwich, England. The Earl of Flixton owned most of Flixton and had a castle about the size of a city block. This is where we flew out on bombing raids to Germany.
That's right.
On my first mission over Germany, we ran into a lot of flak, and one of the bursts hit the front of my plane, causing us to lose all of our hydraulic fluid and fill the plane with black smoke. Ugh, I bet that was scary.
I couldn't even see out. It was scary, and I didn't know what to do. I swallowed my gum, for one thing. I had an oxygen mask on, so I know I didn't spit it out, but sure as hell it was gone. when the smoke finally cleared out, and I looked over here, and by golly, there was a formation over there. I screwed it up.
No, you didn't.
I can do it. I can screw up anything.
No, you didn't.
And anyway, yeah. So I sent the flight engineer down to assess the damage, and he came back and he was just dripping from head to foot with hydraulic fluid. He says the whole crew not going to be able to piss enough to fill that thing, because we got no hydraulics, and we're going to have to crank the main gear down. We don't have a nose gear, and we're gonna have to land without a nose gear. And I came in on this emergency landing strip. It was 10,000 feet long and 500 feet wide. I set that thing down at about 150 miles an hour because I didn't have any flaps, I didn't have any brakes, I had no way to control the aircraft except the speed of it. And when I put all the crew in the bomb bay, and when it started slowing down, the nose would start going down just like that. And before it would touch, I would hit the crash bell, and one crewman would run to the rear end of the ship, and the damn nose would come back up just like that. And finally I got down to about 50 miles an hour, and I had not enough airspeed to control it with rudders, and I spun around like a top 2 or 3 times. The sparks were just flying up through the cockpit. I thought we were on fire. I just about dropped my drawers. And when that thing quit rolling, I know there was not a man left in the aircraft. We all got the hell out of it because we thought it was
going to be on fire.
Yeah. Anyway, and then they took us over to the flight surgeon, it was a British operated place, and we went over there and they poured us a glass of rum.
Really?
Yeah, about that much rum. And they said, well, if you go ahead and drink that, and we're going to give you some fresh eggs, which they did. And they loaded us in a back of a British truck. They call them lorries over there. And got home about 3 o'clock in the morning, and my place had been stripped. They took all the stuff that they could lift, and
somebody broke into your place?
yeah, it was open, you know, and the whole crew lived in that one hut. But anyway, we put stuff back together. Even the picture of my girlfriend was gone, and I don't know what anybody would want a picture of my girlfriend for, but they did. But they all brought it back.
Well, you think maybe since your plane went down that they thought that maybe I was goners and they just cleaned it out?
That's why, yeah.
Oh, okay. It says it got so thick that we had to open our windows to see. With the help of my co-pilot, we could keep the plane flying straight and level and continued on our bombing run, dropping all of our bombs. This was the time I realized that I was in a war and they were really trying to kill me. A very scary time. On our return home,
You're a good writer.
we were given instructions to land an emergency base that had a very long and wide runway. With no hydraulic system, we had to manually lower the main wheels, which took about half an hour. The nose wheel was destroyed in the blast, so we were going to land on just 2 wheels. We had to come in hot and fast because of no flaps. Is this what you were talking about a while ago?
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know where you got all this fantastic, accurate information. It's just like it was.
How about that? As the plane slowed, I had the men stand in the center of the plane, and one by one a man would go to the back of the plane to help balance it and keep the nose up as long as possible. After slowing to about 40 knots, the nose finally dropped to the pavement, and boy was there a lot of sparks. The plane didn't catch on fire, but did a big ground loop. We were all out of it before the engine stopped turning. An interesting note here, the field was RAF, Royal Air Force. Believe it or not, the plane was repaired and returned to service. They counted 37 large holes in the wings and fuselage. Often wonder whatever happened to her. You're talking about the plane? Okay. I had a great crew, especially our navigator. It became known that we always found our mark, and on some flights we were the lead plane, which was a lot of responsibility as each squadron had 18 planes. I flew 23 missions, and near the end I was the right wing man of our squadron leader, but when his plane was hit they all had to bail out. Can't remember his name, but he was taken prisoner and later returned by a prisoner swap. After his plane left the formation, our plane took the lead. We were bombing a very important fuel depot near Kaiserslautern.
Kaiserslautern.
Okay, and we needed to take it out. However, the Germans had it so well camouflaged we missed it on our first pass. I turned the flight around and went at it again. This time was successful but very costly. Out of 13 planes, we returned with only 6. Each plane had a crew of 10 men. The second to the last mission I flew, my plane was again struck by ground fire. Flying at 22,000 feet, the flak was so thick it looked like you could get out and walk on the puffs of smoke. This time my right wing was struck by flak, causing the plane to vibrate so badly it was all the co-pilot and I could do to fly in a straight line. Again, we were able to complete our task of dropping our bombs. On the way home, it became evident that we were not going to make it. We did get across the channel, but that was as far as we could go. With the bomb bay doors open, I instructed the crew to bail out. When it came my turn to jump, every time I left my seat, the plane would try to roll over on its back, which made it hard to jump up. Finally, I was able to get out, but it wasn't easy. I grabbed my ripcord to pull the chute open, but it wouldn't work. I yanked and yanked, and finally it opened, but very close to the ground. It's a good thing it happened. It opened because the ripcord handle come off, and it was in my hand now. Thank goodness I landed in a freshly plowed wet field, to which I sank up to my knees and that saved me. I gathered up my chute, walked to the road, caught one of those double-deck buses, and made my way back to the airfield.
I'll be damned. This is...
On my last mission on April 20th, 1945, we flew at 20,000 feet over Muhldorf, Germany.
Muhldorf, yeah. Muhldorf.
You can see in the picture below my plane dropping its load of bombs. Notice that one of the bombs is trailing smoke. This was a marker bomb for the rest of the squadron to drop their bombs. Also in the picture you see there are no flak or fighter planes. Germany was finished and could not put up any resistance.
That's exactly right. That is so good. Yep, there it is. Wherever it is. I'll be darned. Yep, I'll be darned.
In this picture there are a shot of my crew and plane. Notice the name, Bangin' Lulu.
Yeah.
I am in the bottom row, third from the left. Last I heard, Lulu was in a junkyard for airplanes somewhere in Arizona.
Isn't that a beautiful thing? Yep, that's it. Holy cow.
We can look her up online and see where she's at, too.
Wow. Well, that is something else.
The war finally ended, and now I'm back in the States. Many years have passed. I went on to become a doctor of optometric medicine. And retired at the age of 65. My wife and I were able to travel over to England on vacation and went to one of the places where I was stationed. We even found the same pub that many of us would hang out in between flights. As we were sitting at the bartender called out, "You a Yank, hey?" "Yes, I am. You know Colonel Smith, eh?" "Yes, he was my squadron leader." From that time on, we never paid for our meals, drinks, or lodging. Many a plane and its crew gave their lives to help England from Nazi Germany. My friend Jerry Miller asked me to tell this story. I hope you enjoy reading some of my thoughts as I lived them during a very dangerous time in the world. Mansell W. King, retired. Mansell is another hero that fought for our freedom, our great country, and was gracious enough to talk about it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. This is at the homepage of the Palm Springs Air Museum.
Oh. I haven't been there for a long time.